A fresh dose of tech news and insight. This is breaking news on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Vshojo is dead. It is Friday, July 25th, 2025. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. We finally have a statement on Vshojo, and well, I said they'd be bankrupt within 2 weeks. I was off by over a week. Yeah, no, they're basically declaring bankruptcy right here and now. The only statement to come out of Vshojo is as follows. This is from CEO Gunrun. It reads as follows. Vshojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. Today I'm sharing the difficult news that Vshojo is shutting down. I take full responsibility for the decision that led us to this point. Let me interject. When he says Vshojo is shutting down, all of it is shutting down, including their Japanese branch as well. All of it, the whole freaking thing. It is shutting down, which also means it is going to be entering chapter 7? Pretty sure it's chapter 7 bankruptcy. Chapter 11 is the one you're restructuring. They're not going to chapter 11. They are shutting down completely, because there's no way you're going to take a brand like this and salvage it. It's dead. The statement continues. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months. Let me interject. You should have been trying to do this for the past few years. If anything, if what I'm reading is correct from a lot of the statements, and I can't corroborate many of them yet, more and more information is coming out, and a lot more information is about to come out, because a lot of people are about to foolishly, I want to stress that, foolishly break their NDAs. And by the way, if you are a former Vshojo talent and you're listening to this, do not break your NDA and tell everyone everything until you talk with your lawyer. If you do not have a lawyer, go out and get a lawyer. That is the best thing you can do to have any prayer of getting the large sum of money that you're owed. The statement continues. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are now paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised around $11 million to pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits. To achieve long-term sustainability, our funding went directly to our creators through our generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing. Let me interject. Generous splits is laughable. I don't have the exact numbers yet, and we'll probably find out about them soon. I might even find out about them in time for Eagle Eyes on Tech on Sunday. But early reports show that the splits were either 50-50 or 40-60. And keep in mind, the first number is what the creator keeps. So if the 40-60 one is true, that means Vshojo is taking a bigger cut than they're keeping, which is insane. To my understanding, generous or industry standard for these sort of things is something closer to like 20-80 or 15-85. But what they're calling for is robbery. The statement continues. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We wanted the talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. However, despite our efforts, the business failed to generate revenue. We needed to sustain that model and eventually ran out of money. Let me interject. I'm a business owner, okay? Every day I go to work. Every day I got to make important decisions on how we're steering the business forward. How are we going to make sure we pay everyone? And every day there's a difficult decision to make. Every day. Every single day, there's some kind of cut. Every single day, there is some kind of decision on what you do keep on top of, what do you just let slide for a little bit longer, etc., etc., etc. I want to know what your books look like that you managed to mess up, assuming what I've heard is correct, a 50-50 split on the tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars these creators rake in on a monthly basis. The best part is there's a good chance we might actually even get to see those numbers, and I cannot wait to see how badly these idiots mismanage their money. I am so curious. 'Cause holy smokes, you gotta mess up real bad. Especially considering what comes next. The statement continues. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. Let me interject. No, you did not later learn it was intended for a charitable initiative. You knew it was for it right away. You retweeted the tweets during the charity event by Iron Mouse when milestones were broken and $500,000 was raised. You knew. Maybe you forgot. Maybe someone else made the call. You know, there's plenty of ways that a mistake like this could happen. But here's the problem now. You've now got this evidence that shows, yes, you did know. And now you got to try and explain that away. The statement continues. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believe, based on the information available to us, that we'd be able to do so and cover all expenses. We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts, and I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I'm deeply sorry to all the talent, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. You did not deserve this. Signed, Justin, aka Gunrun. Let me tell you something. I refuse to believe this was reviewed by a lawyer. There is no way that you admit to charity fraud in your statement you're shutting down the company. There is no way a lawyer reviewed this and said, send it. No way. I have no law degree, and I know you don't do that. I've heard rumors that they've had a lawyer on staff that does not have their license. So they're even worse than a Better Call Saul type of lawyer. How is this possible? How? How do you mess this up? Like, we won't know the actual numbers of how much they were, what the actual allowed cut was. But based on information I had, I have to assume, I'll assume 50-50. How do you take a streamer like Iron Mouse? 50% of her revenue. And you can't keep the company afloat. What on earth staff did you have? What were the expenses that led to this? So where do people move from here? Well, it's going to move into chapter 7. It's going to be full-on bankruptcy. That's going to happen very soon. They're going to do what they can to sell their assets, which isn't much. A website, probably some servers. There's no IP because they recruited talent that had their own IP. So, yeah, they don't appear to really have any assets. So I don't know how the talent is going to get the money owed to them. I don't know how the charity is going to get the $500,000 that's owed to them. I don't think it's going to happen. But this statement, because Mr. Gunrun was dumb enough to take full responsibility for everything rather than leave any kind of open-endedness for blame to be possibly put elsewhere, most likely, in my opinion, he is most likely going to pay he's going to be forced to pay as much of these debts out of pocket. And I guarantee you, he doesn't have what it takes. I still firmly believe that the amount of money that's owed is far higher than most people think. A lot of people are thinking, oh, it's probably just like, 10K, 20K, 30K here, 40K there. I would not be surprised at all if the money that's owed to, say, like Iron Mouse is 7 figures. I would be surprised if that first number was anything but a 1. Some other language that's been used was saying that some other people were owed roughly a Ferrari's worth of money. So something closer to what was owed to the charity. And the worst part is, Vshojo is located in California. You committed charity fraud in one of the most anti-business states in the entire United States. You went ahead and shortchanged your talent. You went ahead and failed to pay your subcontractors, which under Californian law have a pretty decent chance of actually be considered employees, which now are protected under a new class of laws. I cannot stress this enough. However screwed you think Vshojo is, despite the fact that Vshojo is shutting down, they are screwed far, 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 far more than you think they are. You're going to find out it is insane, the kind of things that were going on in there. And quite frankly, it may even be far worse than I think, and I already think it's pretty bad. We're still learning how bad it is. And it's going to get worse. It's just shocking. It really, really is. Just how quickly this all went away. The worst part is, though, a model like this could have worked. And you could have done it with more reasonable numbers. The only thing you'd have to do is cut back on some costs. Like, I don't know how much they were spending on concerts. You'd have to go ahead and make sure you're doing that, you know, cost effectively. Someone who's actually able to go ahead and do basic business math could have made this work. However, it's sounding more and more like you guys made some very calculated moves, but holy cow, you are bad at math. That's going to do it for me. Get out there and conquer the day.